Hello everyone, welcome back. Today let's solve the 32nd top coding intro question from 48 top coding intro questions curated by leetcode. We'll solve this problem using Python. This problem is more on the search part of top coding intro questions. So what you have to find out is basically search the first bad version. So you have a software, you release a multiple version of a software. Now there is a software you are current in right now which has a bad version, but that is not the first bad version. So what you have to do is we have to basically find out what is the first bad version which led to the current bad version. So example, if you see, I have this example. Imagine, just look at this example. This is the example, and then the pseudocode is this. We just solve this problem, and then there is two iteration we'll solve. So imagine that you have released a software. The current version is the fifth version, but fifth version is the bad version, which is actually derived from the fourth version, which is also a bad version. So what you have to find out basically the first bad version. So first version is good, second version is good, third version is good. The fourth version is the bad version. But right now, imagine we are in the fifth version, which is a bad version, but it is not the first version. What you have to find out is basically find out the first bad version. What they have given is if you pass this, if you pass, they have an API. They in the code they're saying that they have a when you pass any number right to that API, it will tell whether it's a bad version or the it's a true or false. Basically, it will tell it's a true or false. It's an API, so we don't have to write code for this. For example, let's say, so in this context, if you see, there are 5 numbers. The fourth from fourth onwards, the first bad version starts. So if you pass this third is actually a good version, right? It's not a bad version. So if you see this, the fourth from fourth, the first version is the fourth version. So from fourth onwards, the bad version started. Fourth and fifth are bad versions in a number from 1 to 5. So here, if you see, the third version is of course the bad. Fifth is of course a bad. Sorry, third version is true. Apologies. Third version is true. So is it a bad version? No, it is not. So it's a false. Fifth is a true. It's a bad version. Fourth is a bad version, right? And so on and so forth. So what you have to do is we basically in our code we have to call by passing this code. We simply have to call whether it's a bad version or not. So what we have to do is basically we have to find out the first version, right? Basically we have to find out we have to find out the mid element and then check whether that is the bad version or not. So basically we find out the mid version. So basically one of the ways to solve this problem is, you linearly search, you linearly basically search from this from left to right, and then wherever there is a first bad version, right, you pass that element and then you get a whichever the first element is the bad version, it will be the bad version. That's one way of. The other way is you can use the two pointers, right? You can basically divide instead of linear search, you divide that list, array into two things. One is the left and right, and then you basically divide whether it's, because the numbers are in sorted order, it becomes easier to where to search for the number, right? So it becomes easier. So for example, let's say in this case, I'll start with, there are 5 numbers. It starts with 1 to 5. There are 5 numbers. It's not starting with 0 to 4. It's 5 numbers. The left pointer, I'll say left pointer is 1, and the right pointer is 5. So I'll basically take the division, right? So division 1 plus 5, mid element. It's an integer division. So integer division, if it is a 7, like let's say 6.5, it will like in this context, if it is, let's say 7, right? If it is a 6 plus 1, it will be 7 divided by 2, which will be 3.5. It will take 3. Just imagine that's what this double slash meaning. It's an integer division. So for the first time, so if we, like basically we are trying to find out the middle element, right? If the middle element is like this in the G, right? If the middle element is G, which basically we have to shift the left pointer. We have to shift the left pointer. Basically, we have to ignore. You can ignore these two because left side is also left side. Anyway, they are good versions if you find the middle element. If we find the middle element as, let's say, the bad version, we have to shift the right pointer. This may not be, let's say, if we find the middle as this, right? So this may not be the first bad version. So what we have to do is we have to ignore the right side of the element. So let's say this is the middle, although this is the last element, but imagine this is the middle element. This is the middle element. We have to try to go towards imagine this is also bad. This is also bad. Imagine this is also bad element, bad version. So let's say if we are here, somehow the mid element what we are trying to find out is here. So what you have to do is, so this is not the first version. This may not be the first bad version. So we have to shift the right pointer. So right pointer should be like this. Instead of this we should start from here, and the left pointer should be as is. So in this context, what we'll do is basically it's a simple array, a simple two pointer. So now, so this is the code. So what we have to do is we simply, this is the code. Apologies, this is the code. So we simply try to check when both are, when left is less than left is basically crosses the right. You iterate this for loop, right, and then try to find the mid element, and that you pass the mid element to the API. If it is a bad, if it is if it is true, that is the true, right? If it is true, then again you go in the way you want. Like example which I told here, right? If for the first time, what you do is you simply check. So this 3 is here. So obviously this we can ignore this. You can ignore this. So we can start from mid element from here, right? So that is what it's for the first time. 3, right? So we from the left element we can start from 4. So that is what it is doing. So this is what it is doing. The first element is not mid is bad version. No, third is not a bad version. So it basically goes towards this. Left will basically move the left. So we can ignore these. That's what it does. It says next is 4. I mean, you can see that there can be many scenarios, but in this context there is only 2 scenarios. The next element is next element, when you divide these two, so it will become 9. When you move the left pointer towards right, so you ignore these. So instead of 1, it becomes 4 now. 3 plus 1, because the code is like this, right? So because you have to, that element itself anyway is not a bad version. So you move to the right. So here, if you see here, again you try to have 4 plus 5, 9 divided by 2, which is basically 4.5. So you make it 4, and then so what you have to do is basically the left one, whichever is the left one, is what you have to. So now in this context, again, when you apply for loop, right, when you apply while loop, it crosses, right? It crosses. The next element will be the 5, right? So it doesn't go. Whatever the elements which are there in the left side, which will be returned. So that is what the final version is. So if you execute, you'll understand. So this is what it says. This is the code. It's basically simply, in a nutshell, if you understand this logic, right? In a nutshell, if you have an element, let's say like this. If you have an element, so basically you have to choose whether you want to increase a left pointer, or you want to decrease the right pointer. So to trim down to final element, to reduce the number of elements to search, because the elements are already sorted. For the first time, you go with this, and then second time when you find it. So if you find here, right? If you find it here, so obviously this is not the first G, so you move towards. This is not anyway you are in the G. You move towards, you increase your left pointer. If you find this, okay, this may not be the first bad version. So, but any elements which are after this also bad version, so you decrease the this element. So basically you decrease the right pointer, which is this. That's how you evaluate. So this is the code. This simple code. I'll just run it. I already ran, and then execute and show you guys. This is the important part is there are many other problems you can solve with this. It's basically you're trying to look up the element and then trying to identify the mid element and then adjusting your left and right pointers. That's all, guys. I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.